No, I didn't get squashed under the tractor. The last 3 or 4 days I've been trying to get this stupid tractor back together. Having a lot of problems getting the last 1.5 inches in there. This looks more like the original clutch that I took off. See how thin this is right here, the inner circle? The one I'm replacing it with is much bigger. And I took the tractor apart and I took the new clutch and tried to put it on the shaft, and it has to be beyond perfect to get on the shaft. Then it slides back and forth fine. And so I slid it on an awful lot to get rid of any flash from the machining process, whatever. But it just doesn't act like it wants to jump on the shaft, even if it's perfect. It seems to be problematic. And what I'm thinking is that I don't know if this is a New Holland clutch on eBay, but it looks just like my New Holland clutch. It's smaller in the thickness of the metal right here used for the sprocket is nowhere near as big as the one I got. I'm thinking this is hardened metal, and the one I have, they used more metal because it's not hardened, or hardened as the same hardness level, Rockwell hardness, as this is. So this appears to me, at least on the used clutch, to have a lot more give when you're putting it on, and not a lot of play, but it's got a little bit. I don't think it's from wear, I think it's from design. The new one is very, very tight. Now when you get it on the shaft, it slides back and forth freely. It doesn't have any play like this once it's on the shaft. But if you got it in your hand and you're putting it on the shaft, it's like it doesn't go, and then all of a sudden it pops on. And that's what I'm experiencing as I try to install it. So one of the other problems is you have 2 shafts, one for the PTO, one for the transmission, and you really have no way to turn those shafts and feel them for the teeth connecting on either one. That's been a problem. I found a way to get to the transmission shaft, and I found a way, I think, to get to the PTO shaft via, well, one is by the forward reverse shift lever. There's some gears in there that I can move with a screwdriver and tell when it's actually connecting and maybe feel it. The PTO is a bigger problem because it's an electric hydraulic PTO, so you can't turn it on and go to the back and turn the PTO. I found a access cover I can get to where the actual clutch is, and I think that on the front of it, if you turn it, you can feel the actual PTO shaft hitting the PTO shock absorber. I've got to pull the whole tractor back again and verify that. I know for a fact that the forward reverse shift lever gear is definitely connected to the transmission shaft. I do not know that turning the front of the electric hydraulic clutch on the PTO is connected to the PTO shaft. I got to verify that next. So the other thing I did was, I have inspection cameras, but they won't fit. They're all 9mm, and I found some new really cheap 5.5mm inspection cameras. There are 2 holes in the clutch housing, one at the top, which may be too close, and one at the bottom. And I'm going to try and get an inspection camera in there so I can see if I can see the transmission shaft hitting this new clutch, to see if it's way off. I know it has got to be perfect from putting it on manually with my hand. It's got to be perfect on all axes to even get in there. Then it's got to be lined up perfect. I mean, it can't have any flex in it at all. So I'm going to mess with it. I have a camera showing up tomorrow or the next day, and so I'm going to mess with it another 2 days, hopefully with this camera, see what I can see. When I put the tractor together, I can sit there and use the bell housing bolts and pull it maybe 5 or 10 millimeters, but when I release the bolts, it springs back. That tells me it's pushing against something and something's pushing back. So I haven't tried to force it because I think I'll just break something. So anyhow, I'm going to do that over the next 2 days, play with the camera, see if I can even see anything, and see if that gets me anywhere. If that doesn't work, I've got a New Holland clutch over the tractor place on standby, and I told them I'll just come over there and use my aftermarket pressure plate and get rid of this clutch from high capacity, because it sure seems like that's the problem, is the shaft isn't going in here because the tolerances are just terrible, and it just doesn't want to jump on there. I mean, it does fit. If you can get it on there, it fits and it slides on the shaft, but getting it on there is being a real pain in the ass. So if it all fails with this camera, or I can't see anything, or I still get nowhere, then I'm going to go with a New Holland clutch.